What's going on, guys? It's Nick here, back with another video. Got another mock draft for you guys today, but first, gonna go over the news. We'll just hop right into that. So, Burrow expects to play in week 1. This is the assumption that I've been having all off season. It is the assumption I'm gonna continue having until we hear otherwise. So, I'm gonna draft Bengals players under the assumption that Burrow is good to go in week 1, and until we hear something that conflicts with that, that's what I'm assuming. Devonta Booker signs with the Giants. I'm sure some people are going to freak out about the 2-year, $6 million contract, which is way more than Booker's worth, obviously. I would not look too much into that, though. I mean, we know that Gettleman is not an intelligent human being, and so, I mean, it's just a handcuff, right? Like, if you are worried about Saquon's health, and you're like, I want to draft the backup, well, yeah, take Booker in one of the final rounds. That's fine. Or if you want to take Booker being like, well, it's an upside pick if Barkley gets hurt, sure, do that. But assuming that Barkley is healthy, which is what we should assume, Booker's not going to have any sort of role. They paid him way too much. It's not like they're going to go out there and use him, a 50-50 split with Barkley, right? It was just a bad signing. Baltimore, targeting a wide receiver in free agency, targeting a wide receiver in the draft, already got their receiver in free agency in Sammy Watkins. Basically, if you really like a draft prospect, you don't want him going to Baltimore, right? Because they've already got Marquise Brown. Now they have Sammy Watkins. They're going to throw in. I've heard a few names floating around, but I mean, if they take someone in like the first or second round, it's a really, really bad landing spot for that player. You basically want him to go to any other team. Alex Smith retires. That's not super shocking, right? I mean, there wasn't really a big market for him. We knew he wasn't going back to the football team. And it's just like, it didn't seem like there was a fit anywhere else for him. It was an amazing comeback, but there was no real reason for him to play this season. So probably a smart decision for him to retire. He just didn't need to play, right? But it doesn't impact anything for fantasy because we weren't assuming he was going to play anywhere. Steelers, likely to draft a running back in rounds 1 or 2. This has kind of been the assumption, right? Like, it's like they didn't sign James Conner because they were going to try and draft their next running back, right? And it's why we haven't been drafting their backups right now, because they're probably going to sign a running back in the draft. The feeling is it's going to be one of Najee Harris, Travis Etienne, Javonte Williams. I have no idea which one. Probably they only know which one. And it'll probably be up to who's available when they get to their pick. But whichever one they take is probably going to be like an early to mid-round pick. I don't know what exactly you call it, but somewhere in that 3rd, 4th, 5th round range, that's where they're going to fall, right? Because they're probably going to be close to a featured back, assuming it's one of those 3. And so that's going to be very valuable in fantasy because, of course, it's a good team, right? Even if, Big Ben's on the decline, it's still going to be a high-scoring offense. Final one is most teams are boycotting OTAs. I don't want people to hear that and start to freak out. This doesn't matter at all, right? Like, they're just trying to be safe, and there's no reason for them to start right now. It's not like, oh my goodness, you missed OTAs, you can't possibly gel in the off season. They don't need to have this to do fine in the regular season. So there's just no need for them to start this early, right? They can push it off and start a little bit later this season. It's really not a big deal. So don't look into that and freak out or anything. I would have a poll, but I didn't post on Twitter. You guys did not have a consensus in the comment section among how you'd rank Higgins, Ayuk, and Lamb. Remember, we're going to break that down in a video after the draft happens. I'll post it on Twitter after this video, and I'll pin a comment in the comment section on the results from that, or you can just follow me on Twitter at NickSalikFFA, see the results there. But there was no consensus. Like, you guys were all over the place in your opinions in the last video, so we're going to have to go to Twitter for this one. But yeah, we're definitely going to have to break this one down because I mean, you're all over the place for a reason, right? Like, these are very, very close to each other. All right, so we'll do the stat of the day, and then we will hop on over and do the draft. It's going to be a full PPR draft, 12 teams from, I believe, the 10 spot, but I'll confirm that in a second. So, yesterday, or I don't really know when this video is going up. It could go up on Friday. So if it goes up on Friday, Wednesday's video was among wide receivers to score at least 15 PPR points per game last season on 10 or more games played. Who was the only one to have less than 60 receiving yards per game? The answer was Robert Woods, and Jacob Massive was the first to get that on Twitter and on YouTube. You guys got to be a little bit quicker if you're going to beat them, it looks like. Today's stat. Among the 5 running backs with double-digit carries inside the 5-yard line last season, 2 tied for the least touchdowns in that era. It's only counting, the touchdowns when they had a carry from inside the 5. I believe it was 4 touchdowns for each of them. Who's your guess as to who those 2 were? You don't need to get them both right. I'll just shout out the people who got just like one of them first. So, yes, we did the 5 spot last time. We're going to do the 10 spot this time, and it's going to be a full PPR. I tweeted out a poll on what you guys play in. So, like, what scoring format. And I don't know what the ending results were, but with, like, barely any time left, it was about 60-40 just looking at PPR versus half PPR. I didn't do standard because I just genuinely don't think any of you should be playing in that format. It does not give you an edge. And so if you're watching these videos trying to get an edge, there's really no edge in a standard format. I mean, it's almost entirely luck-based and just got to draft running backs early, basically. But if you're trying to get an edge, play PPR, play half PPR. But yeah, it was like 60-40, and that's kind of what I expected. Just slightly more people preferring full PPR. Maybe I'll tweet something out that has standard as well, but guys, just don't play in standard. For this one, we're going to do my favorite format. We're going to do 2 running back, 2 receiver, and then 2 flex spots. So again, like I always say with this format, it just provides flexibility. You want to go running back heavy. You want to go wide receiver heavy. You want to split them, just go running back, wide receiver, running back, wide receiver. You want to throw in tight ends. Like, it does not matter what strategy you prefer. They're all fine in this format because you can start 3 and 3 or 2 and 4 in either direction. You can start 4 running back, 4 wide receiver. If you really want to start 3 tight ends, you can do that. No one should be doing that, but you can. So, because that's the case, I'm not going to change anything with the positional values because there is nothing you should be leaning on. You should not be leaning on any position over another position in this format. So, looks like mostly running back in the first round. We got McCaffrey, Barkley, Dalvin Cook, Derrick Henry, Alvin Kamara come off the board, then Devonta Adams, and then we get Jonathan Taylor, Zeke, and Aaron Jones off the board. We cannot take any of them. Hide the drafted players. We have the option of Kelsey, a tight end. We will not be going there. Mahomes, quarterback, won't be going there. Obviously not doing a defense. So we can go running back. Remember, we are the 10 pick, which means we'll have 4 players taken before our next pick. We can kind of think about who might come off the board. Odds are Eckler is going to come off the board. Then we're probably going to see Nick Chubb come off the board. And then I would imagine we see Diggs and Tyreek Hill. I guess assuming we don't take one of them, that's who would come off. If we were to take one of them, probably Hopkins would come off the board. So at our next pick, we'd probably be looking at like DK Metcalf, AJ Brown, Gibson, Swift, Akers. Akers probably would be first there. So for me, I see, and this is just my take, I see more of a drop-off in the running back going down from Eckler. I think Eckler could have a great season. Going down from Eckler into this range, I think this range is a good chunk below him. I can pull up the rankings here. I want to go to running backs. Yeah, so I guess I do still have Gibson in that second tier, but it's a significant drop down. I mean, I have Austin Eckler as the 10th overall player. And then it's a jump down to Nick Chubb at 17, Aaron Jones 18. That should probably move higher. And then Gibson at 19. So a big chunk down. And I guess the thinking is we just did a video, right, breaking down Diggs and Metcalf and how they were super, super close. We said we'd take Diggs ahead of them, but that they were very close, right? And I do think there's a gap between Eckler and some of these guys down here. So my thought is we'll take Eckler. We'll basically just take one of whichever 4 wide receivers are on the board. I don't think those are going to be the 4 people taken, but even if they were, we could take Kelsey. We could take Nick Chubb and just go back-to-back really strong picks at running back. And so we will do that. We will see what's on the board. And it's basically what we figured except for Kelsey does go. So we see Diggs, Hopkins, Tyreek, and Kelsey go, which means we do have the option to go double running back, which again we can do because we could start 4 running backs. But I'm not like pumped about Nick Chubb in a full PPR league. I do think I would prefer to just lock up an elite wide receiver here. So I will take DK Metcalf. I can look back to running back. We see a huge run of them go. And we see Kittle go, it looks like, and Darren Waller. That's interesting. Well, yeah, I guess third round for Darren Waller. So after our pick, we see about $1 billion go by. Chubb goes right after us, of course. Then we see Mixon, Akers, Swift, Gibson, and Sanders go. I mean, that makes a ton of sense. We see Kittle and Waller go. And we see a lot of really talented wide receivers come off the board. A.J. Brown, Michael Thomas, Jefferson Ridley, Allen Robinson, Keenan Allen, Terry McLaurin, Julio Jones, and Chris Godwin. All off the board. So our options. We're done with tight end, right? Like we said, if we're not getting one of those top three, we're waiting until basically the end of the draft. We're done with this position. Quarterback, it's too early. I mean, if Mahomes was still on the board, like maybe we go after him, but it's too early to really attack the quarterback position right now. So we're looking at wide receivers and running back. We're split right now, of course, to bring up our team. We have Austin Eckler and DK Metcalf, so we don't need to lean either position. Let's think about the drop-off again. We've got 4 picks that go by before our next one, right? Let's say James Robinson goes off the board. I feel like it would be... I don't think wide receivers have a run here. Because I don't... Yeah, I don't think, at least, I mean, it could definitely happen, but I don't think we're going to see like Cooper, Woods, Evans, DJ Moore just go off the board here. I think more likely we see Robinson go off, Clyde go off, maybe J.K. Dobbins, maybe we see a quarterback like Josh Allen could come off the board, maybe Mark Andrews does, although I don't think he'll be taken in the third round. My take here is we just lock up James Robinson. We secure our second running back that we have the world of confidence in, and then we take a wide receiver because honestly this entire range feels very, very similar to me. I don't even know who I would take here, so we'll do that. We'll take James Robinson. We could honestly, if they don't take Clyde, they did take Clyde. If they didn't take Clyde, we could have attacked that position. Now Amari Cooper's still on the board. That's interesting. I'll pull up the wide receiver rankings right here, but we've got... See, yeah, I mean, Cooper's the last one. So it'd be Julio, Jefferson, McLaurin, Woods, then Amari Cooper for me, then Cooper Kupp. I don't think we'll get him at our next pick, but that would be pretty neat. And then Mike Evans. So, yeah, I think that just thinking about what return we're getting, right? Like, if you really like Dobbins, you could take him here. It's not great in a full PPR league. Like, I probably wouldn't do that. If you like really want one of these running backs, you could do it, and you could just lock up your third really good running back. But it's like there still is. I know I talked about like you can do whatever strategy you want. There is still like decreased return, right? So for every running back you're taking early, there's a decrease in value for that running back to your team. So my taking this third running back here, it sort of means he's less valuable to me, and later in the draft, it means that I can't take a deal at running back. Like, what if at the next pick, there was this awesome deal at running back? Am I now going to take 4 running backs before my next receiver in a format that's full PPR where I can start 4 receivers? It just puts me into a difficult situation. So I would prefer, you don't have to, but I would always prefer balance when you're drafting. That's just my take on the situation. And since we have no clue who's going to be available at our next pick, balance just helps us a little bit more. So let's pull up what came off the board. So we do see Noah Fant go in the 4th round, Mark Andrews in the 5th round. We see 2 quarterbacks go. We could have potentially taken Kyler there. Josh Allen and Kyler go in the 4th and the 5th round. We only see 4 running backs, but it was 3 of the ones we wanted. Dobbins, Carson, Montgomery, and then Chase Edmonds. I guess people still have not adjusted their rankings to that news. Obviously, you're not taking Edmonds this early anymore. And then a boatload of wide receivers. We see Lamb, Kupp, Evans, Moore, Deontay Johnson, Odell, Boyd, Lockett, Higgins, and Adam Thielen all come off the board. So we are still looking at some running backs and wide receivers that we like. But the lean is absolutely wide receiver, right? Like Melvin Gordon, I think if they don't draft a running back, could be a fantastic pick. But I am scared that they're going to draft a running back, and that's going to hurt his value. Kareem Hunt, honestly, pretty good pick. But if I'm looking at this scoring format, I still lean when it's very close wide receiver because of the PPR. And given that I already have Eckler and James Robinson, like I'm so confident that they're going to have a good season and they're going to be consistent for me in this format, especially because, I mean, Eckler, dude, just insane, just insane with the receptions he's going to get. I'm cool waiting. So I'm going to wait on running back. I know I talk about the Lamb, Ayuk, and Higgins like probably too much, but I love these guys. And if I have no idea, which one I want to take, well, just take the one that that goes last off the board, and that solves your problem for you. And honestly, I know in half PPR, Ayuk is higher. I think, okay, it's Higgins, then Ayuk, then Lamb in full PPR. One thing that someone talked to me about was the possibility that the 49ers are just doing like a smoke screen with this quarterback situation, and they're actually going after Pitts. Honestly, if I had to guess, that's not going to happen. But how cool would that be? Like if they were just like, hey, they talked to Jimmy G and they're like, all this stuff's going to come out about how we're taking a quarterback. We're going to mix and match which ones it is this week. Like sometimes we're taking Fields, sometimes we're taking all these other guys. But at the end of the day, we're not taking any of them. We're taking Pitts, and we're going to run 2 tight end sets every single play with Kittle and Pitts, and then we're just going to have Ayuk, and we're going to have Samuel on the outside every play. How do you defend that? Right? Like, how do you defend Kittle and Pitts with those 2 wide receivers and like the rotation of running backs are going to have? Like, that would be awesome. That'd be so much fun to watch. So there's a possibility of that. Like, there's like an awesome offense, and even if Ayuk isn't getting fed targets, there are touchdowns to go around. We know he's going to get carries. And honestly, I do think he's better than Deebo Samuel. Like, just at this point, I think he's just a better receiver. And so he's the one on a team that could be really good. And even if that doesn't happen, maybe they get a new quarterback who's a big upgrade and who's, going to be very beneficial to the receivers in that team. So I just think there's a lot of benefits to Ayuk, and there's very little risk. Like, he's the best receiver on this team. Where's the risk, right? Like, we know he's going to be good. So having him as your third receiver is very nice. So, was that only the 4-1? We only had 4 people come off the board? Yeah, so we see Hawkinson, Lamar Jackson, Mike Davis, and Myles Gaskin come off the board. So I still kind of feel like we want receiver, right? Like, there's just so many awesome receivers here. I know there's some great ones late, but we're still in this range where it's about to have a drop-off. Juju's awesome. Courtland Sutton is awesome. We're not going to go after Deebo because we just took Ayuk. Claypool could be really nice. But as we get into this lower range, there's a lot more speculation, right? It's the same thing for running back, but again, I only have to start 2 of them, and I already got 2. So do I need to draft Kareem Hunt here? I don't have to. I absolutely can't. I think the pick is honestly between Gordon, Hunt, Juju, and Sutton. I think they're all very strong picks. I want to see who I have. I have Juju 1 spot ahead of Sutton. I don't know about that one. Maybe that one's our decision point in this mock draft. How would you guys rank those 2, and who would you take? I guess that'll be our thing. Those are your options, are Melvin Gordon, Kareem Hunt. If you want to throw Mostert in there, go for it. And then Juju and Courtland Sutton. How would you rank those guys, assuming your team is that? So assuming you have Eckler, Robinson, Metcalf, Amari Cooper, and Brandon Ayuk, who would you go after? Technically, if we're going back to the things I've already said in this video, you would take the running back because you want to build evenly. I hate that I said that almost, but for this part, because it's like I really think there's a drop-off after these 2, and I can start 4 receivers, and I'd feel so good about my receiving core if I had Metcalf, Cooper, Ayuk, and like Juju or Sutton. I could abandon it for a while and kind of go back to taking shots on running back. So I don't really think there's a correct decision. I can pull up the overall rankings and see who I technically have. But let's see. I have literally in a line Juju, Sutton, and Kareem Hunt at 56 through 58. And then where is Melvin Gordon? Is he that much earlier? I don't even know where Melvin Gordon is. I'm going to have to... He's at 60. I don't know why I couldn't see one spot lower. So they're literally right in a line. At 56 through 60 is Juju, Sutton, Kareem Hunt, Aaron Rodgers, and Melvin Gordon. So my rankings say take Juju here, and it's kind of what I want to do because I think we're still going to have an option at running back later. So let's do it. Let's take Juju. Obviously, those two running backs will be off the board, and we've just got to find some running backs here, which is totally fine because we're now at that range where I think so many of these wide receivers are the exact same. I'm cool just letting that go. Of course, you guys know I love LaVisca. I love Pittman. I kind of like Mike Williams, honestly. I think he's being underrated this season. But Rager, I think, could have a nice season. But it's all like, could have a nice season. Think is going to be good. It's not like guarantees for any of them. So let's look at running backs. Mostert is an option. I always trash on Mostert because he's like getting up there in age and he still hasn't had a season where we can fully trust him. Hasn't stayed healthy. Hasn't gotten that much of a workload. Doesn't get receptions. But he's an option. We're not taking Ronald Jones. Not taking David Johnson. Leonard Fournette. Damian Harris is an option. But after that, I mean, it definitely gets gross. We can look at, are there any rookies that haven't been taken? So, yeah, well, we're not looking at those guys yet, though. I guess technically whoever went to Pittsburgh, if Javonte Williams went to Pittsburgh, we could take them here. Okay. Who has the most upside? I would say, are we at our 4? Okay. I think optimally, we'd probably want to take Mostert and Damian Harris here because both of them have the clearest path to, even if it's not a ton of receptions, they have the clearest path to being starting running backs. I hate taking Mostert, but I think we're going to do it. We're going to take Mostert, hope that Damian Harris is there at their next pick, take him, and then we'll feel pretty solid about our running back core. Yeah, so Damian Harris, I mean, he should be the starter in New England this season. Probably going a little bit too late. The 8th round for a starting running back that feels a little bit too late. I know he doesn't get many receptions, but could that change if the Patriots, move on from Cam Newton and take a different quarterback in the draft? Absolutely, that could change. Gross. So your options here. You take Jeff Wilson and just be like, hey, I'm just going to see who's the starter. But I mean, they could even draft a running back. We don't really know what's going to happen there. I want upside this pick, and like part of me says you could take James Conner. I know he got an awful contract, and obviously Chase Edmonds is there. But think about it, like Chase Edmonds has literally never gotten goal line carries. And so did they bring Conner in to get some of that early down workload and some of those goal line carries? And then what happens if Chase Edmonds gets hurt? Well, James Conner is now running back 1. Because this is going to be a great offense. Like, Arizona is going to be awesome this season. So he's an option. Honestly, you could say a lot of similar things about Drake. I mean, not the goal line part, but you could just say, hey, I mean, if Josh Jacobs ever got hurt, he's running back 1. So we've got 2 upside options here. I don't love Hines. I mean, you just know he's never going to get a 3-down workload. At least with these 2, they can get that. He's not going to get a 3-down workload. With Buffalo, I don't know. Like, I like Zach Moss, but I think that there's a lot of speculation in that pick, and he needs to take over the feature role to be relevant. A.J. Dillon, I mean, Aaron Jones is the guy there, so he needs an injury as well. But he could be really good if that injury does happen. It's kind of a similar situation with Drake and Connor. So a lot of problems. That's basically the summary. There's a lot of issues with basically every pick here. How many do we need to take? So we've got 4 more bench spots. We've got 4 running backs and 4 receivers. I want more receivers because in a PPR league, I'm just much more likely to be starting the receivers. So honestly, I think we just take a running back here and forget about it. I mean, I think we end our draft with the 5 running backs. We hammer out 3 more wide receivers. We just assume that every week we're only starting 2 of them, so we don't need any of our bench running backs to really work out. We could trade for someone. We could pick someone up on free agency, or maybe Eckler and James Robinson work out like we think they're going to, and that'll be totally fine. So I guess between these two, realistically, I would probably take James Conner, just because I do think that that offense is going to be so good, and he's got the clearest path to having the touchdown upside, having that early down upside, and maybe Chase Edmonds isn't as good as we think, and he becomes, the lead back. We don't really know what's going to happen, but at least there's the upside there. You could have taken like a rookie, just taken a shot on them, but I'm pretty sure Najee Harris and Etienne were both off the board, so it would have been Javonte Williams, and I mean, it's kind of tough to tell if he's down here anymore. I mean, he could have been taken already. So now I think we need to start looking at quarterback. We need to look back at tight end. And we need to look at wide receiver, of course, because, I mean, if we want to start 4 of them, we're going to need more than 4 that we like. Looking at quarterback, one hasn't come off the board recently. We've got 2. Only 2 teams have not taken a quarterback so far. So it's a possibility we can wait. Now, like I say every week, I want Jalen Hurts. I want Matthew Stafford. I do not want a situation where both of them get taken and I'm forced to take someone else. I really want one of those 2. But I think I can wait. I think I might be able to wait a little bit longer. But let's just see what we would take. Like, is it even worth waiting? At tight end, I would absolutely just keep waiting. I mean, is Pitts even still? Yeah. I mean, we could take Pitts super late. I'm fine with Tunyon. I'm fine with Irv Smith. Honestly, fine with Higbee. I'm fine with Cole Kmet. Fine with Gerald Everett. I don't care too much. Of course, you guys know I like Irv Smith. But I'm not going to take a tight end. This pick doesn't feel worth it. So it's either I take Jalen Hurts or I take a wide receiver. Is there a big drop-off at wide receiver? There will be a lot of picks that go by between now and our next pick. But I don't know if there's a huge drop-off. You guys heard me say I like Mike Williams, but I don't know. I think there's still a number of options still on the board that I think I would prefer to just lock up Jalen Hurts. So we'll lock him up, and then we will probably attack wide receiver. Looks like Irv Smith did get taken, so we won't be getting him, which actually means we might go double receiver here because the likelihood that like all these guys get taken off the board is 0%. So we'll just wait on that one. So what 2 receivers do we want? I want upside. Aguilar is honestly not a bad pick if he ends up being the one and they can just get rid of stupid N'Keal Harry. I don't like him at all. If you think Jacoby Myers beats out Aguilar, he'd be a fine pick. Russell Gage is not a terrible option. Gabriel Davis, Bryan Edwards. I feel like the lean here would be a rookie if we can see one that we want. Yeah, Devonta Smith, Jalen Waddle, Bateman if he went to a team like the Packers maybe. That would be nice. If you think that Tooney gets taken by a team that's creative, because if he goes to a team that doesn't have a great offensive coordinator, they're going to use him wrong. But he's so electric that if he goes to a creative offense, look out. He can have a phenomenal season. So he's an option, but it's obviously risky because I don't know who's going to end up taking him. So we're going to take Devonta Smith. We're going to crater our draft grade. We're basically getting a C after that pick. But again, I love him. I think he's super talented. I'm not worried about his weight. I think he's going to be an incredible player in this league, and so I'll be targeting him heavily if he's staying this late in drafts. One more, and then we'll probably take Pitts at the next pick. Why don't we go? No. Who has the most upside still on the board? It's not Slayton. It's not Hardman. It's just not going to work out with Hardman, guys. Like, he's just not going to be a thing. It might be Aguilar. How weird is that to say? But, like, he was good last season. Let's just pull up, well, I don't know why I did that. Like, he was good. I don't know. I mean, obviously the end of season stat line 48 for like 908 touchdowns isn't great, but he had some good weeks. I mean, he was solid. Start the season pretty slow, but he's got a few 100-yard games. He's got some games where he's commanding targets. I don't know. I think he was fine, and it's not like the Patriots have that much talent in their receiving core. Could they get someone in the draft? Absolutely. But, I mean, is there a situation where he's the clear one, and then maybe they draft a quarterback, and that quarterback ends up being good? I don't know. I guess that's the path. Maybe it's a little bit thin. I mean, I guess we can look and see if there's like another option, but that's what I'm thinking. Because I mean, my other options like Bryan Edwards. I mean, I said I think he's gonna be better than Russell Ruggs. I think he's gonna be better than Ruggs. I mean, I think he's already better than Hunter Renfrow. That's not a bad pick. And they just lost Aguilar. We'll do that. We'll do Bryan Edwards. We'll go with the super youth on the team. Oh, we're getting like an F at this point. Yeah, they hate these picks. Well, let's just go. Oh no, let's make sure we get like a 0% in this draft. We'll take Pitts now. They probably think I'm an idiot right now. But again, with the Pitts thing, I have said for years now, we never draft rookie tight ends. I don't care. Pitts is different, right? He's gonna probably go in like the top 7 picks. There's a chance he goes. I think it's thin that he goes to the Cowboys, but there's a chance that he goes to Atlanta and he's instantly. I mean, what? Would he be top 7? Would he be a top 7 tight end if he went to Atlanta? Probably. So, I mean, I just think it's a phenomenal pick late in drafts. I don't know where he's going to go. I don't know where he's going to go in like drafts here, but you take him if it's that late. And you know what? We'll take. Do we take? Yeah, we'll take Aguilar. We'll just take more shots. We were going to take him last pick anyways. I can't wait to get like literally. Oh, I have to take a defense. Literally like a 50 in this draft. They're going to hate this. Oh, they took the Bucks from me. Whatever. Where are defenses? All the way down here. Always good to take a aggressive defense on a team that has a high scoring offense because it's way higher than I thought. Because teams have to play from behind. So that's one thing. Even if you don't know, and you should be looking at early season schedule, just like see who plays bad teams, turnover prone teams. But one thing you can always do is say who is a high scoring offense that has an aggressive defense, because if Kansas City gets up by 25 in the second half, well, guess what the other team's doing? They're throwing the ball. And defenses score points, much more points, when teams throw the ball. Increases the potential for sacks. Sacks increase the potential for like strip sacks. Strip sacks can turn into fumbles. Passes can turn into interceptions. When you run the ball, you're basically just hoping for a fumble. That's all you have. When you drop back, you have so many more opportunities to score points for a defense. So you like teams, defenses on teams that are good, because also scoring is overblown. Scoring, like points let up. Once you let up more than like 17, 18 points, it's effectively 0 anyways. Like you need those turnovers, you need those defensive touchdowns and sacks, and that's going to be elevated on teams playing with good offenses. So I wonder what our grade would have been if we'd have just drafted like the top available guys. We probably would have had like a mid-A. It's unfortunate, but here's the team. We've got Jalen Hurts at quarterback, Austin Eckler and James Robinson at running back, Metcalf, Amari Cooper at wide receiver. Pitts is our tight end, and then we've got Ayuk and Juju in the flex. Love that starting lineup. And then I do like what we did with the bench here. I don't know why I scrolled. Raheem Mostert, Damian Harris, James Conner, Devonta Smith, Bryan Edwards, and Aguilar. We've got a good mixture of upside and safety, right? I'm very confident in these running backs, and what we've taken on the bench, we've got upside in James Conner, but I mean, Damian Harris is still going to get us points every week. Raheem Mostert is probably still going to get us points every week, so I feel safe with my running back core. We took a chance at Hurts at quarterback, but I like taking chances at quarterback, or just like trying to shoot for the moon, because even if it doesn't work out, we can find someone. But I think Hurts has a lot of upside, and I love our wide receiver core. I think this is just a dominant receiver core. So the one thing that we needed to go over was it was like the mid-round pick of Juju. So it was, who would you have taken between Juju, was it Sutton? Juju, Sutton, Kareem Hunt, and Melvin Gordon, then I said you can throw Raheem Mostert in, but we got him anyway, so don't throw him in anymore. Who would you have taken? Because had we gone running back there, we probably would have gone with a wide receiver in the Mostert pick, and it probably would have actually been Jamar Chase. So I guess, really, would you rather have Juju and Mostert, or would you rather have, I think I would have gone Kareem Hunt, honestly. But if they don't take anyone, I would go with Gordon. But one of Gordon and Kareem Hunt with Jamar Chase, or Juju with Mostert. Thinking back, probably would rather just take, I could have done it, right? Yeah. Probably would have just rather take Kareem Hunt and Jamar Chase. I think that has a little bit more upside just because of how good I think Jamar Chase is. But maybe your opinion is different. So let me know which way you would have gone if you could have gone back in the comment section down below. That, my friends, is the end of this one. Hope you all enjoyed. If you did, then how about hitting that like button? And how about subscribing to the channel if you're new? Thanks for watching.